Professor P. We are still in week 1. This is animation class, and in this video I want to share with you the most difficult part in the animation pipeline. You've already looked at what animation is, but the hardest thing to make really good is story. Narrative is the most important part. It makes us care, it makes us cry, it makes us laugh, it makes us sad, it makes us scared. It gives us this emotional connection to the characters that like nothing else can do. So let's have a look at narrative structure. What is storytelling? Well, storytelling starts and ends like this. There's 5 parts to it: exposition, rising, climax, falling, and resolution are more or less the same. There's 4 main parts. So exposition, by definition, we get to meet the characters, we know the world, we know the rules of this game. Rising action, there's something that happens to the main character. Climax, the main character has to decide what to do. And then we have the resolution. Something good or bad happens to the main character. Now, this is the basics for narrative structure. Of course, you can divert from it if you are an expert in story, which we are not, right? So let's look at the visual timeline. Time's on the bottom here. Exposition. And you can see how it's broken down. So if you think about a short film, you've got a minute to tell a story. Exposition usually only happens in 5 to 10 seconds. We know the main character. We have an idea what the character is about, what the character wants, where the character is. We have something that the character wants, and it goes about that process, the crisis, and then the resolution, which resolutions are usually very short. So this graph, in terms of time, is not proportionate. Here's another one. Pretty lame. I want you to pause this video. I want you to think about exposition, the main character in the 3 short films. So we'll go in order: Gopher Broke, and then the 2 Pixar shorts. So anyways, let's have a look at those short films. Okay, now we're looking at Gopher Broke. You've watched it all. Now let's break it down. So you can see what happens. We have a camera panning down, and within about, this is a 3-minute short or so. So about 30 seconds in, we know that this character is looking for food. We don't see the character until right around here. There we go. The way the character moves, you can tell that this character is kind of goofy and funny with the eyes and stuff like that. We know what the character wants now. Again, to reassert it, the character goes to 3 different moments to create the climax. So there's problems along the way. External forces come into play. So we can see that there's, I think this one is the birds. Now it's the squirrel. Then we have the bird, the chickens, and then the crows. He comes up with an idea. Okay, around here. It's a nice little montage sequence. So the birds come and take everything, and now we get to how the character responds. The character responds in this way, which you don't really think is such a big deal. The little lens flare on the nail gives a little hint. And so now we're getting to the climax because of the mishap and misfortune of how the character reacts. We have this wonderful sequence with the cowbell and then the collapse. The character does end up changing from beginning to end in a way that ends up looking like it's worse. He does go to the market or the butcher block, I'm not sure. But there you go. We have broken down the story here. I am sure you've seen For the Birds. This is an old classic Pixar short film, which involves essentially, I don't know, it's debatable who the main character is. For me, the main character is this little blue bird. And as we see very quickly, we know what the predicament is. There's no space on this wire. The background is also very simple. It's in a rural part of, I don't know, say USA. So the bird comes in and creates a problem. Now the other birds think, okay, how can we rectify this? And they think about getting the bird off of The Wire. When they realize that that's not a very good idea, the characters end up changing, right? They go from having feathers to no feathers. So this is the climax, and there is the resolution. Also, something negative happens to the main character. Now, if we look and think about the themes of both of these stories, okay, Go for Broke is about survival, having food, and the outcomes of maybe bad temperaments and how it can have a negative impact to you. Same thing with For the Birds. When someone is different, we should embrace it rather than reject it, because when we reject, sometimes, as you can see here, the outcome is not so good. So there is a very moral idea to both of these stories. Both of them are funny. They both have a message which is very positive when you think about it. This is my favorite animated short film, probably of all time, One Man Band. And I could just dissect this on and on, not only for the character design, the timing, the acting, everything about it is absolutely wonderful. Well, let's look at the story. These two characters want this coin. And in the end, do they get this coin? No, they don't. It can also be said that the main character is this little girl. She has little, and then she ends up with a lot. Either way, it's very clear where we are. We're in a center of town. There's nobody there, and this is what they're dealing with. The main characters don't have any money. The other character, we'll say this external force, has the money. So they build up. There's 3 instances where, things get more and more intense. More instruments come in. They get louder and louder, and then the girl loses the coin. Now, you think that's the climax, but in fact it isn't. It continues on. She ends up playing and getting some coins. The characters are not in the same place that they ended at. They're in a worse place, because you see in the very end there's a silhouette and the coin goes up into the fountain. So I guess they are in the same place. What is the message with this one? Again, it's funny. All right, it's a funny story, but in the end, there is a moral to it. Don't be so greedy. If you are too competitive, you can destroy yourself, etc., etc. So yeah, again, this is one of my favorite animated short films. Really, really funny in so many different ways, and great animation. Okay, so there you go. That's all I've got. I will provide you with another link in terms of where to get ideas for your stories. There's someone who created a wonderful video about how to get ideas, and you should definitely check that out. All right, so that is all. We'll see you in the next video.